What's up, guys? It's Lowkxy here. Today, I've got something pretty lazy for you. I added every single one of my videos that I've made in 2025 into this single video. Now, honestly, I don't expect anyone to watch this all the way through. This is really just so I can have a way to document every video I have. That way I can delete everything off my computer. But if you guys want to watch everything through, yeah, there's some pretty cool videos this year, I would say. Definitely expanded quite a bit. That Modern Warfare 2 video really grew my channel by quite a bit. So did that Ranger video. So I kind of see what you guys expect from me in the future in terms of videos. I should honestly stick more to the loadouts and camouflage videos because those do the best. So expect a lot more of that in 2026. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Expect weekly uploads like I was saying, at least until April, I would say. I got pretty busy last year, but we should be pretty set for this year. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Ich weiß, es ist gemein, doch die Welt ist viel zu klein. Also lasst euch bombardieren, bombardieren. Ich bin Bomberpilot, ich bringe euch den Tod. Ich bin Bomberpilot, Bomberpilot. Ich bin Bomberpilot, ich bringe euch den Tod. Bomberpilot, Bomberpilot. Meinen Bombennamen wart auf den Knall. Verwüsten und zerstören ist alles, was ich kann. Und seh ich, was das mir gefällt, fang ich zu bomben an. Ich bin Bomberpilot, ich bringe euch den Tod. Bomberpilot, Bomberpilot. Ich bin Bomberpilot, ich bringe euch den Tod. Bomberpilot, Bomberpilot.
It's your boy Lowkxy, and today we're talking about the one, the only, Paddyflage. It's St. Patrick's Day. What better way to spend it than watching a video on an Irish camo pattern? Irish DPM is a very niche pattern, So niche that every website and video that talks about it somehow says the exact same thing. So with the very limited information out there on this pattern, let's start with the history of it. Up until the 1960s, Ireland had been using a wool serge battle dress. Much like every other UN country around this time, they would switch over to a plain olive combat uniform, very similar to what the US was using in Vietnam. They would then actually continue using this pattern for the next 40 years, with the only exception being the Army Ranger Wing. In the 1980s, the Army Ranger Wing would be outfitted with British DPM. Finally, at the turn of a new century, Ireland decided it was time to make their own distinctive camo pattern. Introducing Irish DPM. The pattern was first issued to troops abroad in 1999, then in March of 2000, with the help of the Belgian company Syntex, the pattern would be issued to all military personnel. While being called one, it looks nothing like its neighbor's DPM patterns. Like you'll see on every source talking about this pattern, it is best compared to French CCE. While there is no official connection, it definitely does make me question if it was taken into consideration, especially with the Irish Defence Force using a Belgian company to mass produce this pattern. The shapes we see in Irish DPM are almost exact to that of French CCE. Sharper overlaid shapes break up the user's silhouette. Much like any other camo pattern inspired by M81 Woodland, Paddyflage is a 4-color pattern. The colors we see in this pattern are reddish brown, solid black, olive green, and a very pale green color. This pattern is meant specifically for rolling hills and the peat bogs of Ireland. Now, Ireland has used this pattern on many items for both their defense force and ranger wing. Seeing this pattern on combat tops, field tops, smocks, combat pants, field pants, boonies, pouches, chest rigs, helmet covers, and backpacks, this pattern is extremely sought after in America and other European countries. Sadly, this pattern is rarely seen on the market, with Ireland's protective laws on exporting it. It also doesn't help that the defense force is only about 7,000 military personnel, making it much easier for the country to track how much military gear and uniforms exist. Anyways, that concludes today's video. This is definitely not all you'll be seeing of this pattern on the channel. I'm lucky enough to have a complete set of Paddyflage and almost a complete Irish Ranger Wing impression. So be sure to subscribe and stay tuned, because I plan to drop those videos pretty soon. Anyways, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. It's been 197 days since the start of Operation Overlord. The Allies have successfully liberated France. With an attempt to breach the Axis lines into Germany through the Netherlands being a statistical failure, the US finds themselves holding the city of Bastogne in Belgium, which became a key point in defending a German offensive push done by the 26th Volksgrenadier. On December 18th, the 101st Airborne would depart to help aid and defend the Belgian city. Arriving on the 19th, the 101st would form a perimeter, with engineer and artillery groups plugging the holes. Low on food, ammunition, medical supplies, and even cold weather gear, the 101st was quickly surrounded by the Axis. In this loadout video, we cover the average gear worn by medics in the 101st during the siege of Bastogne. The 101st is most recognizable from their use of the paratrooper jumpsuit throughout the war. This is the M42 jumpsuit, which was mostly phased out at the time for the M43. The main difference between the two is the M43 having a much more OD green look. However, with limited supplies, it is definitely still believable that the M42 were in service at this point in the war. Over his jumpsuit, he is wearing the wool overcoat meant for the cold weather he's about to experience. This wool overcoat is real and was made in 1942. While cold weather equipment was hard to come by for the 101st, there are quite a few photos showing soldiers wearing these, especially medics. The easiest piece to identify in this kit would be the M1 steel pot helmet. The one I have here is a reproduction made by At the Front. I would say their reproductions are arguably the most realistic out there, and you get it at a far better price than the mint condition World War II helmet you're going to find on Facebook Marketplace. Now, the reason why I used a reproduction for this impression is mostly I didn't want to deface a piece of history with my artwork. The very noticeable red cross painted on the helmet is an iconic look in many medic photos. This is obviously hand-painted, like many of them were in World War II. The technique I used to do this is very similar to the way both Germans and Americans alike painted their helmets white in World War II.
This technique utilizes both chalk and water to create a washable paste. That way the helmet isn't painted permanently. Now the reason why I went about it this way is I figured I would mess up once or twice. Another reason is that the paint wears down significantly faster than just using regular acrylic paint. This gives it a much better worn look without having to use it for months. Now for the way I made this paste. First, I smashed chalk into a fine powder. Then I mixed it with acrylic paint for the color. And lastly, I added water. The amount of each of these materials that I used was about 75% acrylic paint, 15% chalk, and the rest being water. I then tediously hand painted these into a circle and a cross. Honestly, even though it came out somewhat messy, I couldn't be happy with the results.
Another identifier of this medic loadout would be the equipment. Here this medic is equipped with a second pattern medic bag. However, this bag currently lacks the medical supplies it needs. With supply lines getting cut off and with the medical camp being raided prior to the 101st being encircled, medical supplies like bandages and morphine were hard to come by. Another iconic medic piece would be the armband he is wearing. This is a reproduction armband I picked up from At the Front. It really ties in the impression and gives it a true medic look. The rest of the gear is seen worn by most of the US infantry at this point in the war. A lot of it is interchangeable depending on the weapon system and the soldier's choice. Here, he's wearing the M1938 pistol belt with corresponding Y straps. On the front of his pistol belt, he's wearing the M1910 canteen cover and canteen. Next to that is the M1942 bandage pouch. On the back of this medic, he has an M1943 shovel meant for digging foxholes. Next to that is an M1 Grand bayonet repurposed into a general purpose knife. The boots I chose for this impression are the paratrooper jump boots, another distinguishing factor of the soldier being a paratrooper. These are a reproduction of the jump boots and are made by Hessen Antique. While many soldiers use overboots or even double buckle boots for the winter weather, the lack of cold weather resources meant that many soldiers were stuck with what they had. Well, that concludes today's loadout video. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to comment and subscribe. Also, be sure to check out Fred Militaria for wearing today's kit in the freezing cold. That's all, I hope to see you guys in the next one. The year is 2016. Russia has just launched an offensive on the eastern seaboard. Having disabled American satellites over North America, Russia has deployed hundreds of thousands of paratroopers over Washington. Today, we discuss the Russian pattern Krasny Gorod used by their invasion force. As always, let's begin with the history of the pattern. First developed in 2011 as a prototype, this pattern was designed by Dmitry Solkov. With fears of another world war being on the brink, the Russian military began camo trials to use specifically for an invading force. Taking concepts from the Cypriot National Guard camo pattern and the use of the red by the British during the colonial era, Sokolov's pattern would surpass all other patterns during its trials. This urban pattern would be first issued in 2014 to Russian VDV. However, very little exists on if it was used before the infamous 2016 attack on the US. The pattern's design is derived heavily from the Cypriot National Guard pattern in terms of the shapes we see in it. Much like any other disruptive pattern, it utilizes overlaid shapes to break up the user's silhouette. This red urban camo is a 4-color pattern. The pattern utilizes black, red, and charcoal gray shapes on a light gray background. While at a quick glance, the red might seem counterintuitive for blending in, the idea behind it is actually quite smart. The red, much like what we see in the Swiss camo Alpenflage, works great against night vision. However, being IR compliant wasn't the only goal for this pattern. The red also stood out as a stark contrast from the smoke screens that were deployed in the initial landing. While this would help the enemy to a point, it was much easier for friendlies to PID each other. This idea was inspired by the British redcoats that were used centuries before this. The last reason for this red color, based on Russian text, would be it would help blend in with the bricks in an urban environment. While this is extremely situational, it was still included in the final pattern. With the lack of information on this pattern due to it being heavily protected by Russian media, it seems that this pattern appears on very few objects. Based on photos of what have been leaked, this pattern is used only on helmet covers, uniform tops, and pants. It does not appear that any plate carriers, pouches, or other gear was made in this pattern. Hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. If you couldn't tell, it's super satirical and not real for April 1st.
If you are new, I do actually have real camo history videos, so you should for sure go check those out. Anyways, I'll see you guys all in the next video.
Today I'm going over a 1942 Prussian, here in Prussian. So to start with, here we have an M42 helmet, M42 style helm, with a splitter muster cover on it. Pretty basic, pretty generic. So going down the uniform, I'm going to start with the rifle too. This is a Kar 98 camos, basic. Alright, field gear. So for field gear, we have one of the early grenades. This is one of the Stillengranates 24s. This is the one with the white text, which stopped getting produced in 1940. We have our black leather Kar 98 pouches, our here belt buckle in the Feldgrau. We have our Kar 98 bayonet with the standard frog. Our gas mask can, and our Zeltbahn with tornister straps. This is the splitter muster one, standard issue for the here. On this side we have our M31 bread bag and our M31 canteen. Now to the uniform, we have the gray coat is an M42 gray coat with an M42 top and M40 trousers. And then the boots are the typical jack boots that you see in a lot of early war impressions. And that is the 1942 German here impression.
What's up guys, Lowkxy here today. Today, I'm covering something that I've been asked for a lot. Pop up the 2 comments that asked me for this that were the same guy. Alright, today we are covering the Lowkxy Einsatzkampfhose. Now these are the KSK styled pants. Lowkxy is not truly issued, however these are made the exact same way as the Schara ones are. So today we're doing a quick little review on these. We're going to talk about the pros, the cons, what I found with them that's nice, and what's not. So to start off, these pants are heavily styled off the M42 paratrooper pants that the US used throughout World War II. Now we can see this specifically in the reinforced knee pads right here, and also the leg strap. Now this leg strap is going to go on the outside to cover my pockets during airborne operations, kind of to secure the pocket and keep everything in there. So those are the 2 very noticeable features about this pants. So let's go over a little bit more about these. Now these use a pretty thick material, honestly. You sweat with it a bit during the summer. You got the ventilation holes towards the bottom too, which is nice. That helps kind of clear up that sweat. As you can see, I'm freezing my ass off in the winter right now. But these pants, these are honestly solid right now for what they are. They've got built-in gaiters, which I found is awesome during the summer. I haven't had any ticks or water problems like that, so it's pretty cool. Now, I'm going to be doing an IR test on these also, and I'm going to put a little more info, so stay tuned for that. The reinforced knee pads that you see on these pants are made from cordura, which is awesome for mud, crawling, and thick bushes. I've had these pants for about 3 years now, and have experienced no tears or anything like that. Behind the knee pads, they have padding that you can also remove, which gives the knee pads more shape and obviously helps protect your own kneecaps. The inserts are just a simple foam sheet. My one complaint about them is they normally do not cover your kneecap when standing, more just a shin. However, when you kneel with these, it does a fairly good job covering them. On top of the pants, you do have some D-rings as well. Honestly, I've only ever used these for attaching gloves and cam lights, but it isn't a terrible feature whatsoever. Going to the back, the butt is also reinforced with cordura, which is another great feature. As I mentioned, these pants don't really breathe well at all during the summer. Yes, you have those small ventilation holes, but from my experience with them, they're extremely hot past 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Now for the pocket layout. On the front, you have 2 standard front pockets like a normal pair of pants, but you also get the 2 large cargo pockets on the sides. I've been told that these range in purpose, as some soldiers use them for medical equipment, magazines, general purpose stuff, and even documents. Going to the back again, we see only 1 butt pocket on the left side. Another thing I want to add about these pants would be the fact that they're essential if you collect modern German kit. Now why is that? Well, it's because of who has and still uses these pants. We see these pants not only used by the KSK, but also KSM, EGB, Fallschirmjäger, and even just regular Bundeswehr soldiers, though not as common. The website I purchased these from and Lowkxy themselves say that they are IR compliant from the materials they are made from. So let's do a test of that. Here, we can see these pants under PVS 14s, and honestly, the fleck turn pattern works amazing with being IR compliant. In the end, I want to give these pants a solid 9 out of 10. I absolutely love these. they've held up great for the past 3 years and are super comfortable. Like I said, my only complaints are that they get pretty hot during the summer, and also the knee pads don't truly cover your kneecaps. That might just be a sizing error on my end. However, everything besides that, these pants are great.
Send your traffic over. Line Whiskey, 40 personnel. Line X-Ray, 3 columns of mechanized infantry break. Line Yankee, 20 Bravo, Tango Romeos, 525-639er. Line Zulu, Russian paratroopers break. Line Alpha, 1915 Zulu. Line Echo, AK-47s and RPGs. How copy so far, over? Yeah, say again, Line Yankee, over. Roger, I say again, Line Yankee, 20 Bravo, Tango Romeos, 525-639er. How copy? Solid copy. Do you have any remarks?
You're good. You would have been a hell of a ghost. There ain't gonna be no ghosts. And you're gonna help me.
Head.
No, I want to keep pressing you.
Hey! Who are you people? What do you want from me?
We want the numbers, Mason. That's all we've ever wanted.
Keep hearing the fucking numbers!
It's a broadcast, Mason. The broadcast. Mason, for the last time, where is the number station?
The numbers? What are they saying?
0, 0, 1, 5.
All we've ever wanted.
You can call 1-800-909-6538. 1-800-909-6538. You must be 18 years or older to order.
Can you not speak German? Will your lack of speaking Hans language get you killed? Introducing 30-306. This book just might save your life. Have you parachuted into enemy territory? Do you need to find your way to the closest bridge? Well, just follow the pamphlet's simple guides and speak fluent German in no time. Here, our fellow GI Fred is asking Fritz where the closest bridge is.
Ich habe ein Seimlich, oh my gosh, Seimlich große Wurst in meiner Hose. Ja.
Look how excellent that manual just worked. Now in French as well.
Yivodros on Bouguette.
Order now to get the other free. That's right. Buy one, get one free. Call 1-800-999-999. That's 1-800-999-999.
be on this side.
Oh, my mouth.
Hello there. Good hit, good hit.
Can you turn it on? Let's see.
Yeah. Makes a lot of noise though.
Fuck this Jedi.
Disruptor on target. Enemy has crossed waypoint Alpha. Control the secondary positions.
Oh, good one. Oh. That's a grenade.
Ion fire effective.
Oh, good hit, good hit, good hit. That's a grenade. All right. Oh.
You know, just a few seconds from now, it'll be about 10 minutes till the ball drop, and you can feel it in the air. There's a buzz. You hear that sound? They know it's going to happen.
With the turn of a new century, a new era of combat is born. The German Bundeswehr begins to see a huge omission in gear and training between the standard infantry and their current special forces unit, the KSK. These stark differences quickly call for a change in structure. In 2007, the EGB would be established, standing for the Spezialisierte Kräfte des Heers mit erweiterter Grundbefähigung, in English being the Specialized Army Forces with expanded capabilities. The EGB was created to be a bridge between special forces and infantry by receiving, if you couldn't tell by the name, expanded capabilities within their training. The EGB is found in both Fallschirmjäger units 26 and 31. Both these units mirror each other in structure and purpose. Today on this channel, we discuss the one-to-one loadout of a member in Unit 31, along with the clone-correct G36KA4 and P8A1. As a disclaimer before this video really begins, nowhere in this video, or outside of it, do I claim to be a member of the EGB or anyone else in the Fallschirmjäger or Bundeswehr. This video and loadout is meant to show what is used by the EGB in the most accurate depiction out there. That being said, in the description I have included timestamps for each talking point since there's a lot of information to unpack. Why? Why would I spend so much time making such an accurate loadout of a niche European Special Forces group? Well, you see, I think I have this thing where I need everybody to think that I'm the greatest. Honestly, we just had the same combat shirt, and I assumed I had almost everything else. Boy, was I wrong. What you are seeing here today took me almost 6 months to fully assemble, with another 5 months of recording. One of the most notable features of the soldier's kit is the use of the UF Pro combat system. It was this exact system that first caught my eye, especially after I had just gotten my hands on a new top myself. The combat top he's wearing is a UF Pro Gen XT combat top. It's got the distinct look, the solid gray mesh belly, molly sleeves, extremely soft Velcro fabric. This soldier seems to be wearing it in almost every photo I found. As for the pants, in the initial set of photos, they appear to be the Striker X combat pants. And let me tell you, these pants are easily the most comfortable combat pants I've ever worn. Not only are they built for performance, but they also don't sacrifice comfort. However, we run into a bit of a puzzle when it comes to his uniform. Based on the dates of these photos, this soldier has been in the EGB for at least 2 years now, and let's be honest, it'd be pretty disgusting to wear the same uniform for that long without a change. Also noting that the UF Pro is not issued. Obviously, that's not the case here. In these two photos, which are almost certainly of the same soldier, you can see him wearing the issued Einsatzkampfhose and the Einsatzkampfblouse, which are part of the standard issue uniform. To stay as close to his gear as possible, I made sure to get that exact same set he's wearing here. But there's one more key change to his uniform. If you look closely, in these 2 additional photos, he switched to the newest gen UF Pro pants. Unfortunately, I did not replicate this version of the pants, but they are visible in these photos, and while it's subtle, it's still a noticeable upgrade. Now, the uniform wasn't the only private purchase item on this kit. The helmet worn by the soldier is a high-cut helmet, likely a clone of an Ops Corps XP style. Straying from the issued Rheinmetall Galvian, many EGB members have gone out of their way to purchase high-cut helmets like this one. The helmet cover comes from the brand Best Protection, a gear site that seems to stock many privately purchased items of the EGB. Outside of the 1-to-1, this has been one of my favorite 5-5 helmet covers I own. I honestly prefer it over the Hexonia ones. The placement is a bit unconventional, and there's an interesting detail with the night vision counterweight. It's mounted upside down. This soldier is using what looks like an Ops Corps multicam counterweight, but given the other gear purchases from the EGB, it wouldn't be a shock if this was a reproduction piece. Now, something that might seem to take away the validity of this being the most accurate kit would be the Comtac rail adapters. If you're a gear nerd like me, you might have noticed that these Comtac rail adapters are actually a Chinese knockoff. Peltor doesn't make these in Coyote, so it's a bit of a surprise to see them here. But yes, these exact adapters are part of the setup. And yes, Amazon played a key role as to making my kit as accurate as possible. Moving down, you have the crown jewel of the kit, in my honest opinion. These are the Bundeswehr issued Comtac XPI, marked with the Bundeswehr Iron Cross and my favorite 4-letter word on all my pouches. This piece was one of the hardest to find for this loadout. As you can see, I've tucked in the wire into the counterweight just as he does with his. Now, once again, since these photos ranged over at least 2 years, there have been some changes. Originally, it appears he did not run any Peltor adapters. The headset was worn underneath the helmet. Still the same cover, however. In more recent photos, he is now seen with a Corps survival helmet strobe. Once again, I did not make this change to the kit yet. The majority of his photos were with just the adapters and counterweight. The uniform of any impression is easy to find, as it's only ever a few pieces, and with that, it's correct to the impression. Same can be said for the helmet. There are only so many that are used in most modern day impressions of any unit, which doesn't allow for much customization. Basically, anyone can buy a helmet and a uniform with just ample research. When it comes to the plate carrier, with the sheer number of molly systems, pouches, and private purchase gear out there, sourcing and identifying every pouch for a true 1-to-1 impression can be a nightmare. But what you're about to see here is arguably one of the most accurate depictions of a German-issued plate carrier available. Introducing the Linnerhof Tactic Gen 5. This plate carrier is a staple in the German milsim and impressionist communities, especially for those doing EGB, KSK, and KSM loadouts. Now, the tan mesh material seen in both the references and the one I have here indicates that this is a genuine issued piece, not the commercial one that's sold online. I've used this across multiple impressions, but this setup hands down is my favorite. Let's start with the front plate bag. Looking at the first reference photo, it's easy to match each pouch. At the very top, we've got a NATO-style PTT. Super easy to source since it's used in countless loadouts across all NATO kits. Moving down, I'm running 3 multi-caliber single mag pouches. These are the standard issued ones that come with the Gen 5. On the left too, I have stacked a Blue Force Gear double mag pouch in Coyote, which matches the photo perfectly. To the left of that is a pouch that was a real headache to ID. An older generation LHT pouch originally issued with a Gen 3 carrier. It's designed for shotgun shells. Took me a while to track this one down, but honestly I'm stoked to finally have it. At the bottom, I've attached a Zenturon, Dangler, and Steingrau, and wow, does that look accurate. This alone would have been the stopping point, if not for the side references. This part is much clearer in this reference photo. Starting front to back, you'll see one multi-caliber pouch, this one left empty. I even made sure to add a mini Siloom chem light, just like in the image. Next to that is an upside down double mag pouch. So why upside down? Likely for smoke grenades. Makes deployment a lot easier. Spanning across both of these is the LHT weapons catch, which also helps secure that mag pouch. Moving to the back plate, I included a hydration pack, visible in the reference photo. It looks like he removes it when using an assault pack in other images, so I've left that modular depending on the loadout. Now onto the left side cummerbund. Assuming it's the same soldier, we can spot another multi-caliber pouch up in front. Followed by that, it looks like more chem lights. Easy to source, right? Not exactly. I had to make sure I bought the exact brand, which ended up being Snaplight. With that, the plate carrier was finally complete. Every piece an exact replica. Painstaking? Definitely. Worth it? Absolutely. Now onto the gloves. These aren't your average mechanics gloves that you'd see in most kits. These come from a Polish company called Direct Action. I absolutely love these gloves. They're super thin and they're extremely kosher because we see these in every single photo. Much like the plate carrier, the belt of any impression opens a ton of possibilities, especially when it comes to privately purchased gear. There's rarely one correct setup. That said, just like the plate carrier, I've cloned this belt in a way I consider almost perfect. Let's start with the base. This is the 2-piece laser cut belt from Tasmanian Tiger. Now this is the older version with the black cobra buckle. Originally, I tried ordering one, but I got the newer model with the coyote colored cobra buckle instead. Thankfully, my buddy came through and sold me his. Starting at the front of the belt, I'm using a black PRL, just like the one seen in the reference photos. Right next to that, I've got 2 pistol mag pouches, followed by another mag pouch with a Coyote 75th tactical dump pouch stacked on top. Next to that is a tagging grenade. This is a stand-in for the Bundeswehr's training grenades, which are, unfortunately, not legally attainable. I do plan on cloning one in the future, but I still need the measurements for that. Until then, this will do as a placeholder. Moving on to the holster setup, I'm using a Blackhawk Serpa CQC mounted on a G-code adapter. I also added the custom leg strap, just like we see in the reference photos. Now, if I had a penny for every piece of gear I got from Amazon, I'd have 2 pennies. Not a lot, but still a weird coincidence considering how accurate this loadout turned to be. The assault pack in these 3 photos is the Miltech Assault Pack. Yeah, I know, there's a lot of stigma around getting tactical gear from Amazon, but honestly, this bag holds up surprisingly well. It doesn't scream a Yukita special, and that's already a win in my book. Now, we're not 100% sure how this guy's using the bag in these photos, but the safe bet is, like most assault packs, carrying extra mags, ammo, that kind of stuff. Personally, I used mine to smuggle a 12-pack of White Monster into Milsom West. Some other small things that helped build out this kit and keep it almost a perfect replica would be the addition of the same exact patch. While I don't actually use this for airsoft or anything, the addition of this for this video and photos documenting this kit makes it almost a perfect replica. Another small thing I wanted to mention was the inclusion of wearing the Gen 5 shoulder pads the wrong way. The same seen in the guy's reference photos. Now this part did actually suck to set up because they aren't made to be used this way, but I made it work. I even made sure to include a little red square designating his squad on my sleeve. When it comes to an accurate German EGB impression from this time period, the correct rifle is a G36, specifically the G36KA4 variant. And guess what? That's exactly what we see in all these reference photos. Right here, I've got a Tokyo Marui NGRS G36, complete with the awesome electric blowback system. On top of that, I've outfitted it with the IDZ Project furniture and a custom-made H-key handguard, making this a spot-on clone of the KA4. But of course, I couldn't just stop there. We've also got the proper EOTech EXPS and G33 magnifier, again, just like in all the photos. Another easy detail to check off the list is the LLM01 laser module. For the sling, I went with a classic VTAC sling. Lastly, a small detail I made sure to include was the Bundeswehr pant blouse seen here. The end result is honestly beautiful. Not only is this almost 100% accurate, even with the correct selector switch markings, but it's also functional for airsoft still. The Lowkxy P8A1 is the official handgun of the Bundeswehr, and evidently, we see it in use by the same EGB soldier as well. Here, I have the P8A1 from Red Wolf Airsoft. Heavily styled off the USP, the Airsoft clone has the same markings as a legitimate P8A1. While there isn't much else to say on it, as both the EGB member and I have left it relatively stock, I did make sure to include the rubber band on the grip that is seen on his. Despite being my most accurate loadout, there are still quite a few changes I would like to make. One of the main problems I ran into is the fact that my reference photos were taken during different training events. With the first set of reference photos being from 2022 and the most recent being 2024, there are quite a few small changes that I try to depict best in this video. However, I still feel like it doesn't do it true justice. So in the future, I will likely be doing individual breakdowns based off just one photo at a time, just to avoid any possible errors. That being said, I do still need to pick up a few more things for this. New UF Pros, a better handguard, the German Special Forces Gator, the list there honestly still exists. Despite these changes being left, I am still very happy and feel that this is truly an accurate depiction. Let me know in the comments what I can change to make it even better though, obviously because I'm not infallible. Wow, you made it to the end. Thank you so much for sticking around. Also, I seriously can't thank these guys enough for everything they've done in helping make this kit as accurate as it is. From tracking down rare parts to identifying things I couldn't. They've been absolutely essential, so definitely go check them out. But they're also not the only ones I'm grateful for. I also want to thank you for watching this video all the way through. Your guys' support has been absolutely incredible, and it truly means the world to me. If you are new here, make sure to check out this video that just popped up on the screen. Trust me, you'll want to click it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Seen in the early 2000s, the Ranger load carrying system would be seen in mass use by US Army Rangers starting in 2004. This system was one of the few in existence to see the transition of 3 different patterns in the Army's adaptation to the sandbox. Today's video focuses on the use of UCP with such gear. While being a work in progress, this loadout is based on what is seen in use by Rangers from 2008 to 2010. Popularized heavily in the video game world by Ramirez in Modern Warfare 2, and then in the airsoft community by groups like Task Force Mayhem, Ranger green gear on a gray uniform has become an iconic look loved by many. Today's video shows you how to get that exact same vibe yourself. The uniform for this loadout needs almost no explanation. To keep things short, this is the Army combat uniform in the universal camo pattern. This is the easiest piece of kit to obtain by far, since every surplus store sells them for dirt cheap. The jacket comes from the Protective Combat Uniform System, better known as the PCU system. Acting as a windbreaker and being water resistant, the level 5 was seen at the early point of the war in Afghanistan in quite a few photos. Seen close to the start of the global war on terror, the Advanced Combat Helmet, also known as the ACH, was more than common amongst US Army Rangers during this time. Rated level 3+, this ACH has been painted in a dark rattlesnake pattern, which is seen in a few photos. Having a few different choices for the shroud, currently this ACH is furnished with the Naruto's 3-hole, low-profile NVG shroud. It has also been equipped with custom black Velcro to hold an IR flag patch on the side, as well as the MS-2000, which is seen at the top of the helmet. The Eagle Industries RLCS was issued to every Ranger soon after the start of the global war on terror. This list included the Rhodesian Recon Vest, 3 flashbang pouches, 1 SOF medical pouch, 5 M4 double mag pouches, 4 M9 single mag pouches, 1 GPS pouch, 1 H harness, 4 flat M9 pouches, 1 padded war belt, 1 hydration pouch, 2 NVG inserts, 1 gun retainer, 6 fragment grenade pouches, 2 canteen pouches, 1 signal pouch, 1 drop holster, the Rhodesian chest adapter set, 2 horizontal pouch adapters, the carrying bag, 2 modular triple mag carriers for the M4A1, 2 ICOM radio pouches, 4 MBITR radio pouches, 1 map pouch, and lastly the modular assault pack, all in Ranger green. The MBAV is the one piece of this kit that is sadly not real Eagle. This is the fly reproduction, but something that will definitely change in the near future, probably before this video even gets posted. On my carrier on the front of the placard, I am running the triple mag pouch. This is common in countless photos, but can easily be replaced with a single double pouch. On this, I am running the signal pouch. While I'm not using it for its intended purpose, I find this awesome as a small GP pouch for batteries, snacks, and other dumb small stuff. Above my mag pouches, I'm running the map pouch. While this setup isn't directly inspired by references, and rather what is comfortable to run, you do see this in many photos. Moving to the right of the cummerbund, I'm using the MBITR radio pouch with my fake Fisher-Price PRC 152 in it. The most far piece seen on this carrier is next to the radio, and that would be the Paraclete GP pouch. A placeholder for the IFAK. It is more than possible that one of these has been used, however I have seen no references on whether this is true or not. The back of the plate carrier utilizes the modular assault pack. Commonly seen and used by Rangers, it acts as a hydro pack and a way to carry sustainment gear along with any extra small stuff. Moving to the other cummerbund, we see both the single mag pouch and a canteen. It is important to remember that today's loadout video is a work in progress and should not be taken as the most accurate depiction of the 75th Rangers. Starting with the rifle, the M4A1 is the correct build for this time period, while the Block 2 was first seen in 2011. Another correction to be made in the near future is the boots. While few photos exist of hiking boot styles being used, I plan to change these to the proper AR670 boots. Pulling suggestions from shorts featuring this kit, I will be sure to blouse the boots as well. The final change I plan to make, which I have already mentioned, was the MBAV. I do plan to get a better looking replica, if not a real one, in the immediate future. While these are some smaller changes, I do feel like they will complete the kit quite nicely. If I miss something that is grossly inaccurate with this impression, let me know in the comment section so I can make those changes as well. Anyways, that concludes today's loadout video. How do you feel about the overall look of UCP and Ranger Green gear being mixed? For me, it's one of my favorite combinations of gear. If you did enjoy today's video, be sure to check out the other loadouts I've made. Anyways, I'll see you guys all in the next one. Wow, it sure would be great if Germany made a pattern that worked in this tropical environment. Introducing Troppentarn. This is Troppentarn. This is Troppentarn. Even this is Troppentarn. So what really is Troppentarn? Briefly covered before on this channel, 3farb, better known as Troppentarn, is Germany's desert camo pattern. What makes this Troppentarn as well? The best way to look at it is there's two ways to see Troppentarn. One being the 3-color desert pattern we all know and love, the other being a description of fabric along with its uniform cut. In the mid-1990s, Germany needed a uniform for a more warm and, one could say, tropical environment. 5farb, aka Flecktarn, was printed on this uniform style and was given the nickname Troppentarn, based on it being meant for tropical environments, the German word for this being Troppen, and Tarn translating to camo. Now, we see both 5farb and 3farb printed on this fabric and cut. The camo pattern was made for the same reason as the fabric. As Germany found themselves participating in more warm and tropical environments, they found a strong need for a camo pattern to match it. In 1993, Germany would begin camo trials, but it would not be until 1999 where this 3-color pattern would first become standardized. The official name would be Dreifarben Tarndruck der Bundeswehr, 3farb or 3FTD for short, which accounts for the 3 colors in it: dark brown and olive green on a light khaki base. Now, something that gets called Troppentarn a lot, but is not, would be the arid version of the pattern, Wustentarn. Now, this is a similar 3-color pattern, however the green is replaced with a pinkish beige. It seems that this pattern also only gets called Troppentarn in English sources. In documentation, along with other German uniform makers, the pattern is truly called Troppentarn and 3farb. It is never called Wustentarn. Hopefully this video clears up many misconceptions about this pattern. If you guys enjoyed this, be sure to leave a comment and subscribe for even more awesome videos. I'll see you in the next one. Kommando Spezialkräfte, KSK for short. Germany's very own Special Operations Force. Forged from necessity, sharpened by history, and refined through years of covert deployments. Formed in the immediate aftermath of the Rwandan genocide, political pressure mounted on Germany resulted in a force capable of handling special operations under NATO command. Up until then, elite missions fell on the GSG-9, a highly capable but police-oriented counter-terrorism unit. Germany needed boots on the ground that could operate globally in unconventional warfare. To build this new elite force, Germany pulled together experienced veterans from disbanded French Valère Company 100 and 300, who were long-range reconnaissance units, along with specialized paratrooper commando companies. The result? A lethal force built for irregular warfare, the KSK. In recent times, the KSK loadout has become one of the most popular to depict German special forces in war games. There is also a lot of crossover between their deployment kits with other European and American special forces at the time. Today's loadout is a short guide to my 2013 Commando Spezialkräfte deployment kit. I'm going to try to keep this video as short as possible today, as I've already covered a similar loadout in a past video that contains many more references. The uniform the KSK utilizes when out of country at this time was the Gen 2 Cry AC sets. While there isn't much to say on this American piece of gear, the Gen 2s are a critical piece of kit, seen used by not only European but also American Special Forces while on deployment at this time. The jacket I chose to make use of is the Corinthia Spezker softshell. A Farb addition to this loadout, finding that this jacket really started being seen and used around 2016, which during this year the KSK had switched to a completely different loadout. The KSK almost exclusively used the MSA TC APH during this time period. Outfitted with the Lowkxy NVG claw and Surefire, this helmet does not stray far from many references. For hearing protection, the slightly niche Peltor sound traps, modded with the proper KSK mic, can be seen in a few earlier KSK photos. Shockingly, there's still a pair in use all the way up to 2020. The primary plate carrier in use is a Linderhof Tactic Gen 3. Having mentioned this carrier extensively in my last KSK video, I'll try to keep this as short as possible. The carrier has been made in 5 Farb, and this exact model was issued in 2011. Moving to the pouch layout, every pouch we see is in 5 Farb and also made by LHT. Starting with the front placard, I am utilizing 3 of the single mag pouches that were issued with the Gen 3. Above that, I had the horizontal GP pouch. Moving to the left of the carrier, I'm using a single grenade pouch and the LHT I-Pack. On the back, I'm using the 3-liter Hydro Pack. On the other cummerbund, I'm using one more single mag pouch. I try to leave this side as empty because after countless comments about how it would be hard to draw a pistol, I took this into consideration. My G36 is a horrible amalgamation of A1 and A2 furniture. Having seen it in one photo, I try to copy that as I wait for the proper A1 furniture. I am sorry to the gear locker as I still have yet to get that proper top rail. Like I said, I tried to keep today's video as short as possible. I do plan to make an update to this video soon, because I do have some cool KSK deployment photos that I want to model my kit closer to. If you do have any recommendations, let me know in the comments, as it only helps me improve this kit to make it as close to an accurate depiction as possible. I can't thank you all enough for the support this channel's been getting, and if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, and maybe you can go check out my other impression kits. Anyways, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Hello? Lowkxy, I need a camo that blends in really well with forest fire so people can't find me.
Well, everyone, today we're talking about the brief history of the Chinese firefighting camos.
Play it!
Internal guard, gold, forestry, hydropower, transportation, border defense, firefighting, safeguard corps. For millennia, the 8 corps existed in harmony, a peace made possible by the Chinese People's Armed Police Force. Being formed in 1982, the Chinese Police Armed Force, also known as the PAP, would be established to give each of these 8 corps its own area of responsibility. While that isn't today's focus, it is what gave birth to honestly one of the most interesting camo patterns I've ever seen. Introducing the Chinese Fire Corps patterns. While these patterns do not have an official name that has been released to English sources, they honestly do go extremely hard. Sadly, the names weren't the only thing that these patterns lacked. They also lack a lot of information. But today, I'll be covering these to the best of my ability. The order and dates of these patterns might be slightly off, just as a heads up. As always, if I mention something in this video that is incorrect or you have more information on it yourself, please leave that down in the comments and I'll be sure to pin it. Starting off, the first pattern that was made in this color scheme mirrored that of the PLA woodland type camo pattern. As we can see here, the overall shapes of the pattern match up. However, with our fire camo, it has been changed to the bright orange shades with smaller green blotches. This pattern is believed to be adopted in 2005. Another variant of this pattern that is commonly seen amongst the PAP is based off the PLA woodland camo. The main difference from the first pattern is the overall sizes and shapes of the color in the pattern. This pattern again utilizes bright and dark orange shapes and smaller green blotches. While not much is known on this pattern like the others, many assume that it was created after the prior 2 variants. This variant excludes the green color that the other two had and adds an additional color, much like the 4-color pattern M81. In this pattern, we see a very dark, almost brown orange, yellow, a blood orange, almost maroon shade, and the same bright orange featured in the other variants. So what do we see these patterns on? Based on a few photos that exist on the internet, we see this pattern on uniform tops, pants, helmets, and even vehicles. The other gear worn by the PAP is usually in green or brown, and not in this pattern. Now in 2018, the PAP would be disbanded, and the Corps in it would be moved under the government jurisdiction. With this change also came a change in camo pattern. The Firefighting Corps would be renamed the State Firefighting Service. The Corps would be given a semi-pixelated camo pattern that resembles the previous patterns. This pattern consists of black, pale orange, and the same bright orange in the previous 3 variants, and a dark shade of green. If you guys did enjoy today's video, be sure to go check out my other camo videos, since those actually have a lot better information in them. Also, apparently a lot of other countries use their own fire camos, so if you want to see videos on those in the future, leave a comment down there and I'll make sure to make those. Anyways, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. VBSS, Visit, Board, Search, and Seizure. A set of skills Navy SEALs are given for operational readiness for aquatic warfare. The date, January 19th, 1991. The Iraqi Marines were reported to have shot at coalition helicopters using SAMs from an oil rig. Creating a scenario straight out of a first-person shooter, the SEAL teams would be deployed to capture the Kuwaiti oil rig. A scenario unknowingly popularized in the early 2000s from games like Modern Warfare, and then in recent years by Ready or Not. It has created a niche love for the VBSS photos of SEAL Team 8. Today, we cover the gear used by these SEAL teams in an accurate 90s fashion loadout. The uniform is easy to recognize by almost everyone. The Lowkxy sage green flight suits are extremely popular, especially around Halloween for Top Gun costumes. Today, however, we take these flight suits and make it into something even better. Used for their fire-resistant nature, the VBSS is seen using these in countless training photos, and that's exactly what we have here. What's the most standout piece in this entire loadout? It's definitely the helmet. It's got that classic skateboard style look that fans of Black Hawk Down will instantly recognize. Now, it's not actually a skateboarding helmet. It's a 1990s model from a company called ProTech, and it was originally designed for water sports. Yes, like jet skiing and wakeboarding. Not exactly what you expect for a tactical setup, right? Over time, this helmet was adopted and slightly modified for VBSS operations. One of the most noticeable mods? Duct tape over the vent holes. Nobody knows exactly why they did it, but the leading theory is it helped block out wind or water when fast roping onto a ship deck. Now, take a look at the front. There's a small bump just above the brow line. It's meant to hold up a set of old-school Krupp skydiving goggles, which were commonly used with these setups. Now, don't expect this helmet to stop any bullets, as it's not ballistic rated, but it's actually a huge perk for VBSS teams. The lightweight feel makes it much more comfortable during long ops, especially compared to the heavier, more protective helmets we saw in that time period. Special Operations Vest, SOV, a slightly modifiable rig designed to be worn over body armor. While not allowing much customization, the pouches seen on the vest are mounted using Velcro with button snaps. At first, these pouches suck for magazines when reloading, but with a bit more use and practice, they aren't unbearable. The rest of the customization really comes down to the belt setup, which is secured to the vest using a series of snaps. Having multiple choices for the belt, I went with a simple USGI LC2 belt. Now, in a lot of photos, we see these belts loaded with pouches tailored to the needs of the operator, and that's exactly what I have attempted here. Starting with the sides, we have the drop leg MP5 panel, and next to that, the gas mask bag for the MCU2 gas mask. On the back, I've left it pretty simple, with just a GI canteen and first aid kit. On the back of the SOV, I have the assault pack that buckles straight into the vest. While the ProTech helmet offers little to no protection, the PT-1 body armor utilized by the VBSS offers fragmentation protection while also not sacrificing a low-profile design compared to the other bulky body armor of the time. Much like the fire-resistant properties of the flight suit, the Lowkxy flight gloves were used by the VBSS for that exact same reason. Now, you might notice I have two pairs of gloves. This second pair of gloves I have on the kit is meant for rappelling. These are the USGI cattle hides. While having multiple options when it comes to footwear, I made sure to choose the most uncomfortable. These are all black jungle boots which were issued post-Vietnam. Still having the same spike protection and lack foot insoles makes these boots feel absolutely amazing to walk around in. Honestly, after wearing these for some time, they really aren't that bad. I found that having no insoles in these was actually great when you submerge the boot, since it makes them dry faster. The drain holes obviously work with their intended function as well, making these perfect for aquatic warfare. While not being the most comfortable, these boots are in fact accurate for the impression and definitely not a terrible boot if you plan to submerge them by falling off a boat. For the primary weapon, I went with the MP5 SD with a collapsible stock opposed to the MP5 A3. While not as common as the standard A3, Deployment often carried an SD or suppressed MP5 because in theory he could neutralize a threat right away without making their presence known. On top of this though, I do plan to build out an A3 with the flashlight handguard though for this loadout since it's such an iconic look. Well, that's VBSS kit. I had all the links ready so that if you wanted to build this kit yourself it would be super easy, but it got wet in my pocket while recording, so you're going to have to do some research and find them now by yourself. If you have any recommendations on what to change, let me know in the comments and I might just listen. VBSS kit is amazing when done right, and so many people tend to do the exact opposite. If you have any other recommendations also, like kits you want to see in the future or certain parts of my video that are unbearable to watch, let me know that too. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. And remember,
go up! They see me? Yeah.
Drill bis zur Leistungsgrenze die allgemeine Grundausbildung bei den Fallschirmjägern in Seedorf.
Schneetarn, Germany's newest winter camo pattern, likely taking years of research. Anyways, what better time of year to make a video about an Arctic camo than in the sweltering heat of August? Now, you might have clicked this video thinking it would be about the classic Bundeswehr pattern from the early 90s. Sorry to disappoint, but today's video is actually about the newest pattern Germany has made to blend into the snow of the Alpines. As always, let's begin with the history. With Germany's location on the globe, they experience 4 seasons a year, and one of these includes the freezing temperatures of winter and with that, snow. What would a military be if their patterns didn't help conceal troops in their own homeland? While using patterns to match these conditions is nothing new to Germany, having been seen as early as the 1940s, in 2015, Germany would announce that it would be retiring the old West German pattern that most people know as Schneetarn. This pattern mirrored the shapes in Flecktarn patterns, and like the desert variant Troppentarn, it only has 3 colors in it. While this pattern has slowly been introduced into the Bundeswehr, obviously for winter training, it has appeared more and more in recent years. Now, the name is quite basic for the pattern. Schneetarn translates to snow camouflage, which is honestly super creative, just like the other names for all their patterns. Going back to the shape and colors in the pattern, as I mentioned, the blotches seen in Schneetarn mirrored that of the Flecktarn family. The colors seen in it mimic the older Schneetarn with its bright snowy white and pine tree green, but also had a light gray to break up the silhouette of the bright white color. So what's exactly printed in this pattern? Well, going through countless references and other photos of the Bundeswehr, it appears that currently the only thing to don this pattern is a Gore-Tex-like winter smocks made by Corinthia and the matching pants. Now, how likely are you to get a pair of these? Well, these are extremely rare, and when they do appear, they are often quite expensive. However, with Multitarn rolling out in the next few years, replacing Flecktarn, there is some hope that patterns like this will be mass-produced and easier to obtain. Anyways, that's all there is for this pattern. While it was a shorter video, I really hope you guys did enjoy. I do plan on making another video about the older West German Schneetarn as well, so be on the lookout for that. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. When one thinks of Christmas time during war, people often think of the celebrations and truces that were called during the early years of World War I, a time where humanity showed during eras of horrific warfare and violence. With stories like these, the often forgotten or passed over events that unfolded in World War II would prevent such truces ever being called, resulting in the war continuing throughout Christmas. Such events would give birth to a lesser-known story. With Germany launching the biggest counteroffensive of the war just 9 days before Christmas in 1944, the probability of a Christmas truce, like what was seen in World War I, was completely off the table. The counteroffensive would result in the famous Battle of the Bulge that would continue throughout Christmas Day with intense fighting. Despite the high cost of the battle, humanity emerged through a previously undocumented account from the war. Nicknamed the Truce in the Forest, a smaller truce would be drawn between a few Americans and Germans in a small cottage in the Hurtgen forest. Taken from the first-hand witness of Fritz Winken, a 12-year-old boy at the time, would document his mother and his experience when unexpectedly 3 American soldiers showed up at their door. On Christmas Eve in 1944, 3 Americans, Jim, Robin, and Harry, who was injured, showed up at the Winken cottage after being lost for 3 days while looking for U.S. forces and trying to avoid German patrols. Miss Winken would accept these men in her home as she saw them as just boys, wanting to take care of them. She began to cook potatoes for them, but as she did, there was a second knock on the door. 4 men dressed in gray uniforms Fritz would identify as Wehrmacht separated from their unit, asking for shelter until daybreak. His mother, much like the way she accepted the Americans in open arms, did the same with the Germans as well. However, she warned them that they were already housing people that they might not agree with. This statement would quickly alarm the German soldiers. What came next would resonate with the ideals of humanity and compassion amid its darkest war. Fritz's mother exclaimed, "Listen, you could be my sons, and so could they in there. A boy with a gunshot wound fighting for his life, and his 2 friends, lost like you and just as hungry and exhausted as you are. This one night, this Christmas night, let us forget about killing." Showing compassion for the young soldiers, the oldest out of all of them being only 23, the Germans and Americans would leave their arms at the door. As the night progressed, the 2 groups would share bread, wine, and other foods. Relaxation would take over, separating the soldiers from the war and bringing a peace of mind. Towards the end of the night, the group would join together outside to view the Bethlehem Star. Fritz claims that this very star, the brightest in the sky, would make the war a distant, almost forgotten thing. When morning came, the 2 groups would part, both headed to find their respective armies. While this event was not as well documented as any other event like the truce during World War I, there is actually a short film that was made in the 60s or 70s on this. While it wasn't the most accurate as to the actual story that Fritz had narrated, it is still acts as a symbol showing humanity in a war that claimed millions of lives. Leaving me on a bit more of a somber note, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you guys also have an amazing Christmas, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.